Young men are crashing the fuck out right now, and it's really scary, and people are right to be concerned. Dudes are not doing well in school, not really reading, not socializing well, being more violent and negative and misogynist and like getting radicalized on the right and stuff. And I just want to talk about it for a minute because I'm a dude in Gen Z and I'm feeling pretty good. I feel very positive. I have good relationships with the people in my life, friends who are women. What a concept. I talk to people from different communities and get to know what they care about and what's important to them in their lives. And yeah, I'm virtue signaling just how woke I am right now, but not really to throw myself a party, just to express to you that it's actually really fucking easy. A lot of people act like being someone who has socially positive values right now is like a difficult thing, and it's like a test you can't possibly pass. And there's totally people on like the left, whether that's moderate adjacent liberals or leftists and everything, who will put you through these purity tests. As a white dude who's got obviously a ton of privilege in this world, I'm going to just communicate to everybody that it's not that hard. You're fine. Like, you're doing just all right. And this is still a society that overwhelmingly favors us. You just can't see it because this is a society that has made a couple steps forward. Mind you, they've all been undone, but made a couple steps forward for a couple years towards equity for marginalized people. And again, words like equity and marginalized regularly isolate young dudes, particularly young white dudes, but young dudes as a whole. Like, woke language is in many ways exclusionary to certain people, but I don't want to baby people. I don't want to talk to you like you're a fucking kid and like you can't hear language that is a little too woke for you. You're okay. Things are good. Like, yes, there are efforts at colleges to uplift marginalized people and give them economic opportunities. Yes, there are people whose pronouns are not he or she, and it's more complicated than that. You're fine. Things are good. So I want to share some advice. If you're not a young dude watching this, if you have a young dude in your life, you're welcome to share these things with them. I am a young man who is very happy and I feel great. So maybe these tips and tools that I share can be used to help someone you know feel better. But this is what I think. One of the main reasons that young men have been radicalized is social media, and social media algorithms feeding them slop content that exists to isolate us from each other. And I think the key word there is isolate, because it's so much easier to hate other people when you don't have to look them in the eye. And when you're scared of your neighbor and when you feel as though they're taking away from you just for existing and just for getting opportunities. One of the things I say to a lot of guys I know who are struggling to understand, relate to, and talk to women is like, are you friends with one? Do you have any friends who are chicks? That's a really key part of understanding how to talk to women. And you're not going to be able to be in a positive relationship with a woman if you don't know how to be friends with a woman, because men and women, generally speaking, are in fact different and operate differently. Now, this is largely a product of the way that our society, which is overwhelmingly misogynist, operates, but men and women are different. And that's because we were raised in a society that exists to make us feel different. There are women who are capable of naturally and organically acting more traditionally masculine than certain men, and same goes for men with femininity. For me, I think the pendulum swings kind of far, and in some moments I am extremely girly, and in other moments I'm like a frat bro, and it just sort of depends on when you find me. But that's because I've been lucky enough to have certain people in my life who have given me the opportunity to be uninhibited by the social pressure that tells me I have to act a certain way. And that's what I think causes a lot of people's gender dysphoria when they face something like that, is the overwhelming pressure to adhere to a certain type of standard. Live free of those standards. Don't bug yourself. If you do something that's girly, good, because everybody has qualities that are more masculine or more feminine. I know guys who are 99% masculine and women who are 99% feminine, but everybody's got their shit. So my first piece of advice to young guys is like, stop worrying about gender shit. It's not woke to not fucking care about gender. I would argue that like the chillest you can be about gender is just not thinking about what people expect about you. And it's charming, by the way. If you're trying to like meet women and charm women, you can tell when somebody is burdened by masculinity. You could tell when that's something that is holding them back. It is crystal clear, and it makes you act a certain way that's insecure. And I assure you, you will come off a lot more charming, likable, and magnetic if you don't fucking care and you just act like a person. And people have masculine, feminine, and otherwise qualities, and that's how we operate. Nobody is an extreme of anything unless they are forcing themselves to be. And doing that is going to make you less happy. You're going to enjoy being a person less. So this isn't just about attracting other people. This is about being able to be alone with yourself and feel comfortable in your own skin. The more you let gender norms inform the way you operate, the less comfortable you're going to be in your own skin. Like most of the most masculine dudes I know who are the broiest, think about it the least. They're just being themselves, and they're comfortable that way. And it makes them like nicer to people. So often cruelty is part of the performance that us dudes, I mean, cruelty with women is kind of a different story. Very often also informed by misogyny, by the way, but that's another video. Very often the cruelty that dudes display is part of our performance of masculinity to ourselves, because we are very often taught by fathers and siblings and other guys we know, the masculinity is something that needs to be inherently cruel. And there are other people who are critical of masculinity who also say that masculinity is inherently cruel. And I think that there's a message that gets lost there, where critics and people who identify with certain feminist ideologies paint masculinity as cruel. And that's true. But it's true because we make it true. It's true because we're told that it's true. It's not. It doesn't need to be that way. Like I always say to people, masculinity is not in what you can take from others and how much damage you can deal to others, but it is what you can give to others and how much you can help other people lift themselves up. Doing harm to people, yeah, it can speak to your physical strength. Doing good is where you are. It's how you become a person. And if you are a masculine person, the things you do to be yourself are masculine. Like that's how it works. I wish I could tell every young dude right now, like, shut the fuck up about masculinity and about acting like a big tough guy. You can be 100% a guy and 100% like a dude bro and be nice. It's really easy. And there are times when we feel like the easiest thing is to be cruel and to do harm, but that's because we're taught that way. Like we're that shit is coded into our brains, and it sucks. And I fucking get it. Ultimately, making the choice to help other people, it's part of humanity. It's part of having a soul, and you don't need to fucking hurt people. The more comfortable you can be with yourself, the better a time you're going to have relating to others. And the more you're interacting with other people, generally speaking, the more positive you are in life, and generally speaking, the more liberal you are in your politics. Conservatism is all about pushing us away from each other, because the more isolated we are, the easier it is to turn us against each other and to spread hateful messaging. And it's easy to prey on us like that. And that's what the people who are running these social media companies and programming the algorithms, that's what they're doing. They're preying on us. They're preying on our insecurities. You can think that it's the dude thing to be racist, bigoted, cruel, whatever. And they have successfully co-opted masculinity, while the Democratic Party has largely left men behind, not in the way that we function as a society, but in messaging. Like a lot of platform websites for certain Democrats will include every single group of people except for men. But you got to reach out to men. You got to talk to men. Men and white men specifically, but like I said, men across the board feel as though we're being left out right now. And the best thing you could do is include us. And by the way, you don't need to baby us. I'm not telling people to baby dudes and act as though we are justified in our feelings, that we are somehow like a group of people that is the recipient of some sort of unfair treatment. You don't have to do that, but you got to say something. You got to put in the effort, because we can't feel entitled to dudes being part of positive social change. We have to make an effort to bargain with people. yes, it can feel unnecessary and it can feel like a waste of time. And we could be like, how on earth do guys need to hear that they're included in something too? Aren't guys always included in things? But unfortunately, things aren't as easy as that. And there are people who are getting it pretty fucking good in this world that still need to be bargained with. Like a lot of people who have a lot of privilege, male privilege, white privilege, whatever it is, they don't feel like it because they don't know anything else. They don't know what it's like to not be privileged. So they're not thinking about the things that they have. They're thinking about the things that they don't. And very often they're thinking about the things that they feel entitled to. And it's easy to convince those people that other people are robbing them of it. So another thing I would tell you to tell young guys, is like, take inventory. And this is for everybody. This is for women. This is for gender non-conforming people. This is for everybody. Take inventory sometimes. No matter how rough you've got it, and I'm speaking from the most privileged place, obviously, I recognize that. That doesn't mean this isn't true. While you're thinking about the things that you don't have, think about the things that you do have, not because you're not entitled to more from society, not because you don't deserve, but because it's really good for your mental health. Even if you're struggling financially, struggling with your health, struggling with things that I don't necessarily struggle with, what we do very, very often have is the beauty of like other people around us. And even if you're lonely, there's got to be something about the human experience that you're lucky to have. And if you're watching this YouTube video, you probably have something in life that's good. And when you think about the things you don't have, don't think of them as, and this part is for dudes. This part is for dudes, white dudes, and a lot of other dudes. Don't think about these things you don't have as things that have been stolen from you by minorities and women. Most of these things are being held back by billionaires. That's right. I'm going Bernie mode. Like a lot of the things you don't have in life, a lot of the opportunities that you feel robbed of are in fact being robbed totally. They're being robbed by the oligarchs who run this country, and they want you to be poor. And they want you to be uneducated, and they want you to not have the resources that it takes to start a family and to maintain a family. Like, so if anybody, this is why, by the way, somebody like Bernie Sanders is so popular with young guys, whereas other liberal types who are not willing to talk about corporations and billionaires don't resonate with young dudes. A lot of young dudes who can turn to the right because they're upset with the world, you can communicate to them that they are in fact being robbed of something. And almost always it's guys like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and comparable billionaires who are pushing the societal efforts to take opportunities away from you because it makes you more likely to vote Republican. And that's their vision of the world, because Republicans uphold the oligarchy. And unfortunately, a lot of Democrats are too in the pocket of corporations to put up a meaningful fight. Everybody, I'm sure we're going to have more to say about this. I don't talk about this enough on this channel, and this is kind of why I was hired at Bulwark in the first place. And dudes, think about how good we've got it, because we have a leg up in society. And like I said, a lot of the things that you're not getting out of the world right now that you deserve are not being taken away from women and minorities and people from other religions. They're being taken away by the wealthy people who the folks online that are trying to make you isolated and angry fully support. With Bulwark, I'm Kasky. See you all soon.